Welcome to the video, guys, and in this video I want to answer one main question: where do I see NIO stock in the future, specifically by the end of 2021, and I'll also share with you my long-term outlook for 2025. You have to understand, I'm a long-term investor. My mindset isn't on day-to-day price movements of these stocks. I like to look at companies many years out and look to see how I can double, triple, quadruple, 10x my money in good investments. I honestly think that if you want to see true success in the stock market, you have to disconnect yourself from the day-to-day price movement, because that's just going to drive you crazy. And hopefully by watching videos like this the entire way through, you will get a more long-term mindset, which will help you become a much more successful investor. Now, I'm going to be 100% upfront with you guys. I am a long-term investor in NIO. My cost basis is like $5.98 per share. And clearly I'm up massively on this position, so I'll try to stay non-biased here, but just keep that in mind, I am technically a NIO bull. And to be perfectly honest and transparent, last year NIO went through some tough struggles, and I, along with many other people, were unclear on its future. I still had money in the company, but I wasn't exactly bullish at that point. But now, fast forward a year later, things are much better for this business. The worst, in my opinion, is behind them. So now let's look forward, let's focus on the future, and let's be positive here with NIO stock. So with that out of the way, here's what I want to talk about today. First off, where do I see NIO stock by the end of 2021? This is a short-term prediction, I know, but you guys want it, so I'll kind of share a little bit of insight here. Secondly, what's my long-term outlook for NIO stock? I'm talking like 5 years out, guys. This is more in line with where I see NIO going. Thirdly, am I buying more NIO stock? I'll share that with you guys today. So please consider dropping a like down below. It helps the channel out tremendously. Let's set a lofty goal on this video. I don't know if we can achieve it. I mean, I have faith in you guys, but it's going to be a tough one. 2,000 likes on this video. Let's set a record on this channel. Okay, starting off big, let's discuss where I see NIO stock by the end of 2021. Like I said, honestly guys, I don't do this very often. I don't do short-term price predictions because I think it's kind of a shot in the dark. Flip a coin, pick a number, let a random generator pick a number from 1 to 10, and that's how many multiples the stock is going to go up in the next year. It's really difficult to predict is what I'm trying to get across to you. And if it was as easy as going to these websites, look at analysts and seeing what analysts have predictions for, everyone would be very rich by now, but that's not the case, so just keep that in mind. Okay, so let me give this a fair shot. Today, NIO sits at a $62 billion market cap, and this has been blowing up the last few months, and $62 billion, guys, is nothing to sneeze at. This makes NIO bigger than worldwide brands like Lululemon, eBay, Activision Blizzard. I can name a ton of companies that have a smaller market cap than NIO, but have been around doing business, much more recognized brands for a very long time. But NIO is different from these other companies because a lot of them are mature businesses, whereas NIO is still a baby business. It's an infant, it's still growing, and it's in a growing industry, and it's poised to be one of the top players in the world when it comes to EVs. They may not take number one because Tesla has a good lead there with some great technology, but the number 2 spot is up for grabs, maybe the number 3 spot in some markets. So NIO has that huge potential. Now last year, NIO pulled in around $1.1 billion in revenue, no profits, but instead had a $1.6 billion loss. But guys, this is in the past. It's no secret they had a tough 2019. This year, though, they're expected to double their revenue, pushing $2.28 billion estimated, but they will still post losses, but they should be less than last year's. Then if we stretch out even more, look at the end of next year's projections, this is supposed to nearly double once again to over $4 billion in revenue for 2021. So the growth is exponential, it's there, it's huge, and this is where the excitement really comes from. That being said, despite the revenue growth, earnings are still expected to be negative, so NIO is still a ways away from becoming a profitable company. So now, knowing all of this, knowing NIO's growth trajectory, let's try to make an estimation here on where I think the stock is going by the end of 2021. Fair warning, you know I'm a NIO bull by now, but I'm going to try to be realistic with this valuation, and some of you may not like what you're about to hear. I think that NIO ends off next year somewhere in the range between $30 and $50 per share, probably somewhere in the $40 or so range based on what I see today. What we've seen so far is a euphoric run up, but I think it's very likely we see a correction sometime between now and the end of 2021, and that could result in some sideways movement. This does not mean I think NIO stock is crashing at any point, but I do think that a correction or a pullback, if you want to call it that, would be healthy and honestly is needed so the stock can sustain good levels for the long term. Consolidation periods are very normal in stocks. Tesla is actually going through one right now after a massive run up, and I think NIO is probably going to see that very soon. A stock doesn't just double from $20 to $40 and just keeps doubling without any sort of pullback or consolidation. It's very normal with stocks, and I think NIO is going to experience that within the next year. Remember, when you buy a stock, you're actually buying part of a business and you're betting on that business delivering on certain results. NIO's valuations are like up here somewhere, the fundamentals are kind of down here, so it needs to catch up to make sense as an investment. With the current market cap of over $60 billion on NIO, guys, the market has pulled forward a lot of optimism on the stock. And as long as NIO can keep delivering, investors will be happy. But if anything slows down, anything has issues over the next few earnings reports with the stock at these levels, it is definitely going to see some sort of punishment similar to what Beyond Meat saw recently with their earnings. Last year when Tesla was at its lows around $180 pre-split, the market cap for this company was around $40 billion. And yeah, I get it, Tesla has proven the market now, so NIO and other stocks can benefit from it. But does that justify a $60 billion market cap for NIO today? I don't know. I find it really hard to justify that. But guys, 2021 is short term. I'm not a short term thinker. So what's my long term outlook? I'm talking like 5 years out here for NIO stock. Okay, so now this is where things get more exciting, and this is more in my domain. If we assume, highly optimistic case that NIO keeps doubling their revenue for the next 5 years, this is what their charts are gonna look like. With this growth rate, they could be pulling in $65 billion in revenue by 2025. And with a market cap today of around $62 billion, this puts their price sales ratio less than a 1, which is extremely undervalued based on this projection 5 years out. Now, more realistically, I see revenues trending more like this. Still strong growth, but not a double up every year, because that doesn't seem sustainable and realistic for any company to really maintain as they grow bigger. This, however, guys, looks more in line with what I think will happen, with them growing year over year still in the mid to high double digits for the next 5 years. This year puts their revenue at around a $25 billion level by 2025, which with today's market cap gives them a price to sales of around a 2.5 times. Now, based on what I'm seeing, using Tesla as kind of the benchmark, I see a reasonable price to sales ratio here for EV stocks at around an 8 to 10. Now let me get this clear, NIO is not the same business as Tesla. Tesla does almost everything themselves, and they'll still be doing the battery themselves as well. Plus they have many other segments of the business, so Tesla's in another league. However, you know what, NIO is an EV company, so let's be optimistic here, and let's kind of look at the bull case here, assuming that NIO can continue what they're doing so far, and let's just give them a price of sales similar to Tesla of around an 8 to 10. If we use this range, it puts NIO's market cap in 2025 to around a $200 to $250 billion company. That, guys, is clearly much higher than today's $62 billion market cap. Now, if you do some calculations, some math here, use the outstanding shares, this would give us a price range for this stock of around $147 to $184 per share, but using the median there, let's kind of go with the average, it's around $165 per share. But I'm gonna make this caveat very clear. This is assuming that they keep growing, of course, and they keep meeting and beating expectations, of course, but also that they don't dilute shares anymore. I think that they actually will be doing that sometime soon at these valuations. And if that does happen, it will affect the stock price prediction because there's more shares out there, which means that our calculations need to be adjusted and our price target is actually going to come down. So just keep that in mind. If NIO does dilute shares, it will lower this price target unless some of the other fundamentals start to pick up even more to make up for that difference. So now with all this in mind, am I buying more NIO stock? So I want to make this very clear. This was clearly a bull video, and we're looking at the optimistic bull case scenario for this company over the next 5 years. Guys, $200 billion, $250 billion market cap, that is a sizable business and we definitely have high hopes for NIO to reach that at some point within the next 5 years or so. We're giving it a rich price sales ratio of 8 to 10. We're assuming high growth rates for this company is sustainable, and we're just hoping that everything that we're seeing right now in NIO just keeps going forward. It's very likely something could go wrong in the next 5 years, and if that happens, the price target could drop from 165 all the way down to like the low 100s, and that would suck, but it would still kind of be a double or triple up from where we are at today. To double or triple your money in the stock market over 5 years is pretty impressive. You would be outpacing the market, and I think that would kind of be more of a lower end estimate for NIO to kind of double or triple your money in the next few years. So will I be buying more NIO stock here with all of this in mind? No, I won't be buying any more NIO stock, and let me explain why. So far, I've seen that NIO has proven that they can scale. They can expand their business. They're expanding to different markets. They're growing. There's no doubt about that. However, there's one aspect of the business that they have not proven to me yet, and they haven't shown to me how they're gonna fix, and that is their profitability because of their margins. Even as they scale now, they just can't seem to figure out a way to make a little bit of money, which usually, guys, I'd be fine with, but my concern is the amount of capital that they burn every quarter. It's pretty big. The other red flag to go with this is that they have negative gross margins, and this is not good at all for any business, and I need to see a plan for them to turn this into positive gross margin and sustain it and grow it over time. For comparison's sake, since we brought up Tesla a few times here, this is what Tesla's gross margins look like. And even when the company was losing money and burning a lot of cash and was not profitable, they still had positive gross margins, which has now helped them pull in profits over the last year. Remember, we invest in companies to make us money, and for a company to make us money, they need to be able to make money, and for them to do that, they need positive margins. To me right now, it's not clear how NIO is going to achieve that, so that's why I don't plan to add any more shares at this point. But that being said, I will remain optimistic. I'm excited for their earnings report to see what they announce here. Maybe somehow they eke out positive gross margins here. That's what I'll be looking for. And if that's the case, I want to see if that's sustainable, because that would be a major catalyst for them to actually achieving that $165 price target that we have set out for them. We'll have to wait and see how things play out, and I'm sure over the next year or so there'll be a lot of change to this business, so that price target is gonna change, and I'll make update videos as we go along with that if that's something you guys want to see. But what I'm more curious about is to hear what your price target is, both for the end of 2021 and also for the end of 2025. Let me know in the comment section down below, guys. But either way, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to invest positively, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.